Good evening, Baller Nation. It's your boys, the Shotcallers, back with another podcast episode. The date is December 3rd, 2019, and as always, we're back to talk basketball. In front of
What's wrong, Richard?
Nothing's wrong. I'm about to introduce this man, but he's already he's shook. If you saw the face that I saw right now, you'd understand why I paused there. He had a shook face.
Hold on, wait. Is your mic? Is your mic up?
Got him. Oh man. So I'll allow Mr. Richard to gather himself.
Yeah, pick that mic up.
I'll introduce Mr. Andre West here on my far end. And if you guys did not watch the last few episodes, you probably don't understand what just happened. But I'll go ahead and explain it. We had a little contest going on for the month of November, and that will continue on to future months. But before we go into that, Andre, you want to recap the? Actually, before all of that, let me go over our social media. If you don't already,
Richard, you want to talk about social media?
Yeah, we can. Follow us on Instagram.
Instagram, _Shotcallers. We're also on Twitter, Shotcallers Show. Yeah, if you want to send us a message, send us a message to shotcallershow@gmail.com. Yeah. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, probably our most popular avenue.
YouTube,
radio.com, Anchor, all those good podcast mediums. If we're not on your favorite medium, let us know and we'll make sure to get added onto those. And like Andre said, we are on YouTube. If you prefer a visual platform, make sure to like, comment,
you want to see this. So if you're listening to this right now, you need to go ahead and hop on the YouTube video.
Yeah, we'll also throw it on our Instagram, but you're gonna get the best. You're gonna get the best view.
That 721 1080p.
Cool. So we're going to kick off this episode while Richard gets cleaned up with the injury report for the week. Andre, what do we got?
All right. So a couple injuries. We haven't really checked in about 2 weeks, but since then, just going from the top of the list, important ones. Marcus Smart actually had his ankle injury, but he's back now. Taco Fall's out with a knee injury until at least December 8th. Kyrie Irving's been out. I think he might have been out since the last time you guys recorded. He's still out, shoulder injury. They're saying he might come back December 8th. He missed both of the matches against Boston this week, which was a disappointment. But, they should have him back soon, hopefully, by the end of the weekend. Karis LeVert out with a thumb injury until at least December 14th. Spencer Dinwiddie's really been having to pull the weight over there for the Nets in the meantime. Nicholas Batum. Actually, Charlotte, these are all game time decisions. They're all good. Reggie Jackson's still out until at least December 18th. Golden State Warriors, bunch of game time decision guys. You're probably not going to play. D'Angelo Russell. You all right? Can you see? Your eyes are burning. You good?
I'm going to leave it at this point. Cause
don't get too clean because you still got one more pie.
I know the second pie is coming in.
You got one more pie, man. You ain't done. There's consequences for your actions.
I mean, we tied, Andre.
I got more games right, though.
Oh, man.
Who else we got on that?
Yeah, Daniel House Jr. for the Houston Rockets out until at least December 5th, so he'll probably miss one game. They're actually playing the Spurs right now. Just went to overtime, tied at 115, so maybe missing him is kind of hurting them. Actually, Eric Gordon out as well till December 13th. So I looked at the score. Harden's had to do a whole bunch of carrying score-wise, so... it'll be interesting. Speaking of that, they're playing San Antonio. So LaMarcus Aldridge is out as well with a hamstring injury for San Antonio. He's not expected to come back until Let's go. All right, slow down, buddy. Yeah, he's not coming back until at least December 6th.
So one more week.
Yeah. Also, in the meantime, Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry are back. They played for Toronto today. That game went to overtime against the Heat.
It's exciting.
Last we checked, the Heat were up 8 in that overtime with like a minute and a half to go. I think the Heat won it at this point. Mike Conley out, hamstring injury. Probably missed one game. I think that's it for the most important players. Aaron Baines, actually. He just came back. He played Friday against the Mavericks. Looks like he had another injury to his calf, so he's going to be out till at least December 5th before they reevaluate. But I think that's everyone. At least for forgot, I can't forget about Al-Farouq Aminu, knee injury, out to at least February 1st, and then Nikola Vucevic with an ankle injury out to December 20th. So that could really hurt their playoff chances because that's a pretty significant amount of time for them to miss, especially considering where they are right now. The bottom seed of the East. So we'll see if they can bring it back around.
On a bright note, Markel Fultz has been looking really nice for the Magic so far.
Yeah, but it's still, I think it hurts for them just to see their best player, at least scoring wise, go down in Vucevic. So going to be a big gap to fill for Jonathan Isaac and Markel Fultz and Aaron Gordon.
I feel like they've got enough of a cushion to hold on to a playoff spot ultimately. I just don't see, outside of Detroit, who's had some wins some unexpected wins. Not unexpected, but some wins that could have gone either way go in their favor, namely the matchup against the Spurs earlier this week. I think they can hold them off, even though they're going to miss Vooch for a few weeks. And biggest point is what Richard just talked about with Markel Fultz stepping up. He's going to get a lot more opportunities with the ball in his hand. And I think if he can really, take advantage of that, shoot efficiently, they can pull off they continue to pull off some close wins.
I mean, as fun as Charlotte's been, I mean, who's going to jump up and take their spot? Like, is it going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks? Like, the Knicks aren't coming for them. Charlotte's been fun. Detroit's, kind of knocking on the door, and they definitely have playoff aspirations. But Chicago, it's been fun to watch them. They came back against the Kings just the other night.
The crazy Zach LaVine game with 13
Yeah,
threes
but it's just, they're not stopping anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're giving up as much as they put up. So
yeah, as much dysfunction's going on along some of those teams with the Hawks missing John Collins, with the weird coaching, almost carousel GM trying to save their job in New York, and then with Jim Boylan on the hot seat, not on the hot seat.
It's a little bit of clusterfuck on the bottom half of the East, right?
So I'd feel okay if I were the Orlando Magic, I guess, to finish up what I was saying.
Yeah, it might be another one of those seasons where a losing record gets you in the playoffs.
Oh, losing's got you there for now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, any other big names on the injury report?
I think that's it. That is it.
Cool. So we're going to move right into our big segment. If you guys are watching on YouTube, and if you're not, make sure to check it out. Like I said, we'll post some video and pictures on our Instagram so you can kind of see the aftermath. But we have our Pick'em contest ended for the month of November, and the votes were in, and the victor was myself.
Jonathan in first place?
First place. So I'll recap the games since we didn't record last week. 2 weeks ago, we did some picks. Andre, you picked correctly. Brooklyn over Charlotte and Clippers over Boston. Did not get the upset pick. I don't think you got a single upset pick this
I think I got my first one, the very first one.
Very first, you're right. Rich, you went 0 for 3 in week 2.
I
probably a big reason about why
the deck was stacked against me that week, man. I had to pick last in every round. So
he was resting on his laurels, talking hella shit.
I don't know about that. No way.
In week
eating
2,
humble pie right now.
Yeah, that's right.
In week 2, I went 1-2, picked Toronto over Portland successfully, but got San Antonio over Washington and Atlanta over Milwaukee incorrect. That was my upset pick. Did not expect to get that one, but it would have been nice. And then we did our picks, amongst each other for this past week. Andre went 2-1, again missing the underdog Indiana over Philly, but getting Toronto over Utah and Philly over Utah. So not a big Utah fan. I guess you predict that little
they scoring correctly. Issues against good defensive teams.
And those were two blowout games, huge. I mean, in particular the game against Toronto, they were down 40?
Yeah, 40
in the first half.
Yeah, and then
so it was kind of one of those games. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that clip of Rudy Gobert pretty much smacking himself in the head, how frustrated he was with that game. Indicative of kind of the last few days in Utah.
What do you think you saw in some of the Jazz games? I know you watched that one, and then did you catch the one against Philly?
I caught a lot of the highlights of that one. I didn't see that one live.
It was a game where they were kind of running away with it, and it was fun to watch from the Philadelphia point of view. Philadelphia has their own problems trying to generate offense. At times it seems, because it's the whole chicken or the egg or whatever. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I don't know who's the egg in that situation, but just trying to figure out the spacing and who's going to do what and where's Ben Simmons going to be. But against the Jazz, I guess everyone's problems are solved no matter what. I mean, no matter how the defensive presence of Rudy Gobert and that great defensive team, it's intimidating, but they were just going off, man. Al Horford was looking good, running a lot of action.
3 of 3 from 3.
Oh yeah, and then running a lot of action through him as well.
3 of 3 from 3.
Yeah, lots of handoffs, dribble handoffs, great rebounds. Al Horford, I keyed in on him because I was really excited to see him playing on the Sixers after coming from the Celtics and taking an enemy away from Joel Embiid. Although you lose one demon in Al Horford, and Joel Embiid seems to have found another one in Marc Gasol, defending the Super Bowl.
That's the real demon,
hitting him with the 0 for 11 a couple of days ago, but. That was crazy, and another guy I really enjoyed watching on that team during that game was Matisse Thybulle.
You all right? Can you breathe?
Yeah, I got some pie in my right nostril. I'll fix it up as the show goes on. I'm just prepared for the next one. But Matisse Thybulle, man, first-year player, not polished like whatsoever defensively. Like looks like young, very lithe, quick, great hands, and like he's just doing things that you see other defenders try to do, like Rajon Rondo, like reach around after you get beat, get the ball, knock loose, stuff like that, jump in passing lanes. The gambles that don't pay off for so many other players. That guy just seems to be
to make it work. Yeah,
well, not even that. He just seems to be like 1/4 of a second faster than everyone else, just to be fast enough to get to his hands on that ball, get that steal. And with how active the Sixers are, like they seem to always be diving out of bounds and actually converting on those knockaways and stuff like that. So I thought that was really awesome. He had 15 points the other day, but that's not the point. Like he just like he's a bulldog. I don't know what his nickname is gonna be, but his last name is Matisse Thybulle, and I'm in 100%. So
Yeah.
He's with the bull.
We talked a lot about in previous podcasts about Philly's, elite defense. Their goal is to be the best defense in the league, and it showed in that game. The athleticism on the defensive side of the ball, being able to play man to man. When you play zone, you typically get destroyed by a team that has shooters, which Utah has, but they were able to limit them because of that man to man. They shot about 22% from the 3-point, which is way below their season average. I mean, you got guys like Bojan, Mike Conley, Joe Ingles on your team. You're gonna drain more.
You should get more.
Yeah,
someone's getting some good
You're
looks.
supposed to hit those, and it just wasn't happening because there was like you said, you're just able to get that hand in their face
pressure,
very quickly because everybody's quick on switches. You have a center that's a little bit quicker than your typical big man. I wouldn't say he's super agile, but he's able to.
Yeah,
to
he gets the job done.
Yeah, and of course you have Ben Simmons who's able to disrupt the wings.
Yeah, play 1 through 5.
So that was a big part of the frustration. And Rudy Gobert actually led all scorers on Utah. And I want to ask you guys a quick question, just a quick answer. Does this kind of justify the whole Rudy Gobert? Yeah, he's DPOY, but he's not necessarily an all-star caliber talent because he can't be the primary scorer. He can't be the guy that leads the team to the playoffs, to the title, etc.
I guess my opinion, like I don't mean to be dismissive of the question in any sense, but if you think about it, like as far as like an all-star selection, I feel as though if I were an NBA player, like my sights would not even be on an all-star selection. He's gonna get his defensive player, first team, second team, like no matter what, just because he anchors a really great defense. But like the second part of your question, we were talking about like leading up to the title or can't be the first guy. I mean, there definitely is a lot of merit. Like you see guys that say, like you see teams instances like where a team needs a defensive backbone to really vault themselves over into the title contention because they say defense wins championships. Draymond Green being the fulcrum of the defense for the Warriors, and Tyson Chandler coming to the Mavericks and they getting led to a 2011 title. But it's never the other way around. It's never like, hey, we need more score. We need more score. Oh yeah, you do need that. But it's like
let's get these scores around.
Scores usually accounted for.
Let's get these scores around this defensive
right. Let's add the scorers to this defensive guy. It's like no, let's add the defensive guy to the scorers. So that's kind of what made me think
that's fair. And I mean, when have we ever really had a big man that you can build around outside of like Shaq?
Yeah, and Hakeem Olajuwon, and those are like
Giannis,
years and years and years
Giannis
ago.
is probably the closest to that.
That dude is insane.
Cool. Also for week 2, I went 2-1, hit the underdog pick, Dallas over Lakers, and then Miami over Brooklyn. Got the Phoenix over Charlotte pick incorrect.
I'm surprised Miami over Brooklyn was even.
Miami over Brooklyn?
Yeah.
I think it's because Brooklyn was at home.
Yeah.
Now
Brooklyn and this week Brooklyn and Charlotte's even, and I'm like,
yeah, Charlotte's but the odds makers take a lot into account. I guess the injuries, but also the home court advantage that usually swings it like 2 points the other way. Yeah. Dallas over Lakers, the big game of the weekend. That's the one that everybody talked about.
It was on TV.
Twitter was going off about him. It's funny because I saw I can't remember the Twitter handle, but somebody was saying after the Clippers loss, essentially kind of taking a jab at the Mavericks, saying this is what happens when you overhype a team that
had an easy strength of schedule.
Yeah, something like that. And they showed up and they beat the Lakers, who are the best team in the league. Yeah, handily. They won by 14. They were
up more.
Yeah,
Luke was on rebounds. And
they were up in the 20s, 20-point lead, and then it just kind of garbage time points from the Lakers kind of brought it down to 14. Started off the first quarter very weak. I mean, the Lakers went off to a double digit lead to end the first, In the second quarter, they kind of brought it a little bit closer. I think they were leading by
It was about 3 or 4 points, yeah.
And then third quarter, Luka just turned it on.
Yeah, he had 13 points or 16 points in the third, but ended the first half with 6.
Yeah, if you ask AD and LeBron what the difference maker was, it's just the pace. That's what they both alluded to whenever in their post game interviews is the pace. They turned up the pace in the third quarter. They were banging the boards. I mean,
moving the ball.
They were getting a lot of second chance points. Dwight Powell, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps, all grabbing second chance rebounds. You even had guys like Jalen Brunson and DeLon Wright, who are real scrappy dudes. When the ball's on the ground, they're gonna go and chase it. So it was really good to see that. And then of course, the number one offense for a reason. They outscored the Lakers by 30 points from the 3-point line, scoring 17 3-pointers, which is ridiculous. We're talking like if you can maintain that pace, which tonight I think they hit 16. Yeah. Something like that.
Something crazy like that.
So it's not an anomaly, They're doing it against.
They're doing it consistently.
Yeah, they're doing it consistently. They're the number one offense. Riding behind, Luka Doncic, who's, is having a historic season for somebody that age.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, you see Doncic knife through the lane, and he's running the pick and roll, and you see LeBron seeing what Doncic is seeing, because LeBron can see, like, everything. Yeah. And LeBron's man is in the corner, and then Anthony Davis has to rotate over and help on Doncic's penetration. And then LeBron, seeing Doncic see Anthony Davis shade over, says, okay, he's about to dump it off to Dwight Powell here for the dunk in. So LeBron goes over here to cover Dwight Powell, and then Doncic just, without missing a beat, just rockets it over to Finney-Smith or Curry in the corner for that 3. And it's smart, LeBron can recognize all these things, but his body can only be in one place. Right. So seeing someone that has the vision that LeBron seems to have at times is just really wild. Like,
it's like 2 chess grandmasters going at it.
Yeah,
man.
and like you can see Doncic and LeBron, of course, too, jump in the air, and he can see both options at the same time somehow. Like, how are your eyes doing like this? Like, doing and then they just rocket the pass with speed.
Yeah, they have that instinct, right? They know where the player's supposed to be, and they have that trust that the player's going to be there, and they're like, okay, I'm going to. It's kind of like a quarterback, They say you have your first check, your second check, and then you have your third check, and it's kind of that same thing. And that's what makes a really good quarterback, and that's what makes a really good facilitator in the NBA. If you're going to get those amount of assists, which they both are very good at, you have to have your first option and be ready for the second option. Yeah, so, and more so in basketball because it's way more fast paced, right? You don't have time. You don't have guys blocking for you to throw it to the second guy, but I know where DeLon Wright's going to be. I know where Dorian Finney-Smith's going to be. And I have to trust that he's going to be there, and that's why you practice, And that they're both just have so much faith in their team.
I believe it was Dwayne Casey. I could be getting the coach wrong a little bit. Andre might be onto this, what I'm about to say, but it was just so crazy one time when I was reading an article talking about how LeBron had really ascended at the point when he just knew every play that was going to come on from the offensive side of the ball or the defense. Yeah, Dwayne Casey or the defensive team. Where one time against the Raptors during the infamous LeBronto series, he's pointing out where the defenders need to be. He's like, "Hey, you're supposed to be over there." And so like certain teams would call out fake plays, and LeBron would say, "You don't have that play. Y'all don't run that." He knew everyone's plays. Yeah. So like crazy, man. The IQ is insane, and so that's what helped me understand coming from a coach that of course has a game plan against him, what they have to do and why they say his IQ is like off the charts. And then just stuff like that. And he just, it's obvious. And we even posted this on our Instagram earlier in the year. Like, it's obvious that he really does, when he gets done playing his game at whatever time, if he's doing an early Sunday game, he's going home, he's watching the rest of the games all at the same time just to see what he can see, studying everybody's playbook. Like,
take notes,
As much as he works on his body, he obviously works on his mind just as much. So that's wild, man.
Just one final take for this game. I think it really showed. We can sit here and talk about the strength schedule. That's all you heard after that game was like, oh, the Lakers have the easy schedule, blah, blah, blah. They've lost to the only teams that have winning records. That's all fine and good. I think that at the end of the day, they are still a very talented team, and they will make they'll make a run through the playoffs. Who knows how far that'll lead? But I think what ultimately, in my opinion, is going to keep them from making a championship is they just don't have enough talent around those two guys to go deep into a series. When you're talking about playing the same team who's going to figure out your schemes, and you got to play them in a 7-game series, and you're beat at the depth. The Mavericks, more depth. Yeah. The Clippers, more depth. The Nuggets, more depth. Right? When you start having to play those teams 7-game series, you can't just lean on two guys. I mean, in this game, LeBron scores 25, Anthony Davis scores 27. They shoot efficiently. I mean, 55% and 47.
But where's the rest coming from, right?
Exactly. Where's the rest going to come from? And they shot very efficiently in the first half, and that's kind of why they were able to hold on to the lead. And Rich, you talked about this probably like 3 weeks ago. That's their plan, right? To be able to stay in the game, and ride those two as far as they can, and then just have the closers kind of
use
come
the
in.
length and use the athleticism and the IQ.
Yeah,
And so somebody would counter your argument with the fact that they do shorten rotations in postseason time. They'll go down to 8 guys, maybe 9 guys, probably 7 guys. But are you saying that Danny Green, somebody that was on the Raptors this past postseason, and where you saw so many different guys not be on it, not be hot during that postseason run, and then every step of the way, this is
someone
this
else.
Is
It was
Fred
a different
VanVleet's
person's
series.
chance.
This is
Yeah.
Marcus Gasol's
Exactly.
series. This is Serge Ibaka's time to shine. Are you saying that you don't trust Danny Green to be hot at the right time, or Kyle Kuzma to be hot at the right time?
Alex
Or
Caruso.
I don't.
Well, the reason I
Hey, he
use
was a second lead or third leading scorer.
I like him a lot. I'm not down
Yeah.
on him.
well, the
I just-
biggest reason I use this game as an example is because they were both on,
right.
Yeah.
and it's like
Still not
That's
enough.
still
still
not
not
enough.
enough.
You need
Like
more.
both of them on, and then you still have to have another one on. And who's to say they would still win? They lost by 14, so. They're getting killed on the glass. They have some length, but not a ton. I mean, they do have JaVale and Dwight can
they're
rebound.
pretty
They're
good
doing well.
interior presence.
I guess this is where kind of the strength schedule comes in because it's like, okay, you played monster defense, you have a very good defense, your defensive rating is very good,
Yeah.
but you're playing bad teams. Can you maintain
Like,
that?
yeah.
And that's where they're getting a lot of their points. A lot of points in transition. You have Alex Caruso throwing a dunk down almost every single game because of that, right? He threw one down on the Mavs on Sunday, but. These guys, and it's grinded. Like they're grinding those points. LeBron is what do they call it? Freight training them.
Yeah.
AD is like backing down Kristaps or backing
doing
down Dwight
post-ups.
Powell, doing post-up moves, the fanciest shit.
He
you
got
can see.
tired
Beautiful.
early in the season
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah,
so
beautiful
much.
game, but it's like, dude, you can't do that
the whole
fucking
time,
40
yeah.
plus minutes every night for a 7-game series, and that's why I don't think like they're built to win a title. Not this year, maybe next year.
So if you had to pick between the 2 LA teams, would you pick the Clippers?
I pick the
Clippers are a better
for the-
team
for
right
the,
now, yeah.
for the sense that they're gonna be more rested,
Yeah.
right? We got load management all year, of course, and the depth. Like you have 5 guys that can pop off. Like you literally
Excellent
have,
defensive team, yeah.
Oh, well,
and
you got
a
you
lot of
realistically you got
scores.
4 guys that can pop
Yeah.
off, but like. I mean, we saw what Lou Williams did last year. We know Paul George can have games, and we saw what Kawhi did last year.
And
And then you got
Montrez will take care
Montrez,
of
yeah.
Montrez will take care of the guy that you put on him because you're putting all your best guys on everybody else. Like Montrez is gonna get to the rim.
He's probably gonna have
Play with
gonna
energy.
be a mismatch for the guy that he's covering.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not putting your A1 guy on him. How many people have an offensive or a defensive center that can
Push
handle-
around Montrez. Yeah.
Exactly. It's tough, and like, man, watching those guys live, it's crazy. I went to the game on Tuesday, Mavericks versus Clippers, and
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, like, just so strong. Like he's
Gets-
just as smart as anybody that we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's not as though that there's a deficiency in IQ as far as recognizing schemes or who has to be where. We've seen Kawhi Leonard get onto Pat Beverly. Or was it Lou Williams, like, about missing their defensive assignments? Like, he's going to try to get them up to speed. Doc Rivers is a good defensive coach, so as they keep rolling and they get that energy or that cohesion on the defensive end, being on a string, that's going to be really scary. But just on the offensive end, I'm someone that is like cautiously optimistic about what Kawhi Leonard can do in terms of his like conditioning, his age, and his condition as far as with like his leg and his injuries that he's been fighting and his knee. I want him to be there for the playoffs. I love seeing him play. And so if that can hold up, like I saw flashes just in that game on Tuesday being there live. I went with someone and, the crowd was getting kind of excited to see Kawhi. It was still a close game in the second quarter. He backs down. Dwight Powell bunts him off his spot. We all know Kawhi Leonard's a beast. And the crowd's kind of like, yeah, he's going to miss. And I said it out loud. He's going to make the shot. and he bunts Dwight again, gets right under the goal and rattles it in. It wasn't pretty, but he's got the strength. He's got the know-how, and he's going to get to his spots. And so seeing something like that can rival somebody like LeBron, seeing Paul George on the other side just being all silky smooth, as I say every other fucking podcast episode, like it really makes me a believer, especially with the coaching, the defense. And so we'll see. I mean, I hope it's not just a showdown of the LA teams. I hope it's a more wide open playoff picture, but I'm up on the Clippers too.
Yeah, the scariest thing about them is it seems they're pretty unselfish. I mean, I've seen games at the end of 4 quarters where Kawhi Leonard is
deferring.
He's deferring, and it's like, here you go, Lou, and go get a shot.
Here you go, Paul George.
And the prime example of what we're talking about with the depth is when they were playing the Rockets, it was going down to the wire, and they're swinging the ball. They're very good at they're swinging the ball around. They're trying to create the open space. And, Paul George is on the floor, dishing it to Kawhi. Kawhi drives, dishes it out to the corner 3 from Patrick Beverly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not going to happen
Give
all
up
the time.
a good shot for a better shot.
Yeah, that's not going to happen all the time because Patrick Beverly's not a great 3-point
Right.
shooter. But the fact that can happen It's like, what do we do?
Dude,
we just forced
pass
it
it
out
to
of
the
your two
fifth
best
option.
Yeah, we just passed it we got it out of 3 other guys who can drill the open jumper to the guy that's not a 3-point shooter, and he makes it because he's a confident player. He's not scared of the moment, and he's gonna put up the shot.
And that's without them working with Landry Shamgod up to this point.
he's
You know what I
injured
mean?
right
Like
now.
he's not afraid.
Back,
he's not afraid to shoot the three. Landry Shamet. He and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had a big moment against the Warriors last year when they dish it to Landry Shamet or they dish it to Shea Gilgeous. He gets pressured by the free throw line. He dishes it right out to Landry, and he just shoots it with like no conscience, just ready to go. So
I think the Clippers will be the quietest story to come out of the West, because we're talking about Luka, we're talking about the Lakers.
Yeah.
Kawhi's not in the MVP talks because of the load management, but they're gonna just be there riding the wave. I don't think they give a shit about where they end up in the standings.
Right. I don't think it matters as long as they have first round home.
And it's going to be like, damn, the playoffs are here. Do we forget that the Clippers are in here? And it's going to be like, shit, who's going to beat the Clippers? I think that's realistically what's going to happen. The playoffs are going to come. The playoffs are going to come over, and every team will be like, damn. So, the Lakers are good. The Mavericks are good. The Nuggets, the Rockets. And then you're like, but they got to play the Clippers now. And who's going to pick the other team over the Clippers? Like, realistically, who would you pick over the Clippers right now? Despite them being the number 3 seed. Like, it's crazy. All right. Lastly, Richard, you actually went 1-2. This is what caused you to lose. So you only hit the underdog, which tied you in points with Andre, but overall, the tiebreaker was whoever picked the most games right, and Andre did pick more games right, putting Richard in last place for this month, and getting the pie to the face from Andre to kick off the show, man. What was that? I was like not expecting that.
He really got me, because I'm looking for microphone discrepancies over here, and then boom, I was like, what's even happening?
So that was the I guess punishment for the month of November. Richard was in last place. If you guys have any ideas besides pie in the face, anything really, let us know. Send us a message to shotcallershow@gmail.com. Tweet us to shotcallershow. Send us a DM on Instagram, _shotcallers, or leave a comment in either the Apple Podcast or the YouTube comment section. So we're going to move on to this. Actually, Rich, I didn't even get over your teams. You got the San Antonio over Detroit wrong, Pelicans over Thunder wrong, but they get Grizzlies upset over Minnesota.
Yeah.
Did you see anything in any of those 3 games that...
It was just I was really shocked that the Pelicans lost
to Thunder.
Yeah, man. Like, I just thought that Brandon Ingram, doing his thing. As far as
it was a close game.
Yeah, it was close, but it just made me.
Nerlens Noel got him.
Yeah, Nerlens got him, and I was counting on, I guess, Danilo Gallinari and Chris Paul just not having a good shooting night, and then seeing something good from Nicola Melli and Brandon Ingram and JJ Redick. I was hoping he'd have a really big night as well. And sometimes the shots just don't fall. That's probably the most reductive analysis that I've had all season long. But it was just really harboring a good resentment towards them right now, because my face
you make some and you miss one.
Yeah. Every shot is a 50-50. Either it goes in or it don't. So
or they blow the whistle.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. So screw the Pelicans. That's all I got to say. Where's Zion? I saw him
win
tonight.
Zion.
Yeah, win Zion.
Win Zion. Win Zion indeed.
Like an event?
Yeah, win Zion, baby, because I was pumped. I'm ready to see him again. I'm ready.
I bet.
Oh, Lord.
What, you got this week's?
Yeah, I was trying to. All right, so Richard lost.
Yeah, we know.
So he'll get another pie
by
the end of this show.
Yeah.
But we're gonna move on to December's pick'em. So fresh start. What we'll do is, since I was first in the month of November, we'll reverse pick. So Rich, you were last. You get to pick first. You already actually did pick first.
Yep.
And your first pick was.
Yeah. So for my first pick, as far as the even games go, I actually took Charlotte over Golden State. They're playing in Charlotte. Golden State is the easiest team to pick against, it seems, at the moment. I might get bit. You never know. But Devontae Graham playing well, or Terry Rozier when he's not making crucial mistakes at the end of games. Like, you got the biggest room for error as far as that team goes. And they're playing in Charlotte, so kind of hard to take the underdog. Kind of hard to not take Charlotte. And then Curry's not there, so he's not going to be going off from his hometown crowd. So I'm taking Charlotte in that one.
Yeah. So for my first even pick, it was between Brooklyn Nets and Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta just won their 5th game. Brooklyn should be doing a little better. Kyrie's not going to be back just yet, but I still like them overall over Atlanta, even with Karras and Kyrie out. I think Atlanta's really just Trae Young, and they're going to give up as much as they put up. So I think Brooklyn's defense and their scoring ability should be enough for them to take the advantage over Atlanta, even though Atlanta's playing at home. They're really struggling right now, so I think that one's a no-brainer.
My first pick is going to be Dallas over Minnesota at home.
Dallas has been paying dividends for you, huh?
For sure. So I'm gonna roll with the winner.
Hey, they're on a roll.
Yeah, they're on a mini 2-game winning streak. Actually 3-game. 3-game winning streak. They beat Phoenix. They beat the Lakers and just won tonight against the Pelicans. And I think they'll handle business on Wednesday against Minnesota. Simply for this reason: they beat the Lakers. And you got a poor man's Anthony Davis and LeBron James on Minnesota.
And they are playing the back-to-back, but Luka, like the starters didn't play at all the second or the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Luka could have
got plenty of rest
Luka
tonight,
probably
so that's
could
a
have
good
gotten
pick.
another triple-double if he had just stayed.
He would have had 20 rebounds
tonight. Yeah, he would have had 20 rebounds tonight. He didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter against the Pelicans. Oh, you're talking about tonight's game, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about the other night against the Lakers. He almost had another triple-double. And then tonight,
He didn't get it.
2 rebounds away from 20 points. 20
When's the last time you
rebounds.
heard that about like your like
Point
forward,
guard?
Forward? Yeah, point guard forward. He's a
Yeah.
forward point guard. I agree as well.
Yeah.
But even from anyone that's not a center, really.
Exactly.
Or like Magic, yeah.
Yeah, and so another amazing showing. He continues to be a spectacle for the entire world. He's huge in Europe. I'm surprised. That's why I say they should be able to flex games.
Yeah.
To make it make it easier for people overseas to watch him. I'm pretty sure they still tune in. But like I said, poor man's AD and LeBron on Minnesota, and they don't really have much more depth. They have a little more depth than the Lakers, but other than that, I think Dallas continues to roll. They have the best bench in the league and the best offense, so I don't see why Minnesota would be able to stop that.
Or throw Robert Covington at him.
So before we go with my next pick, which I'm about to announce, you were talking about flexing games. There's been a lot of talk recently about the NBA proposed rule changes for the coming year, upcoming like in-season tournament, like kind of logistics for that, what they're going to bargain for and what the players are going to do. So as those talks are developing, like, yes, we're aware of it. And I wanted to say that like we should bring that up on the next show as the talks develop a little bit more, so we can kind of give our takes on what we think about the in-season tournament, about divisions, getting rid of the certain games on the schedule, flexing games, stuff like that. Because like flexing games seems really great. Like it seems to be really good for the NFL. Put the Patriots in if the Browns are playing or whatever. It can seem a lot harder to do in the NBA because there's so many different like arenas and start times, stuff like that.
There's not really a prime time for the NBA.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know what I mean?
On Sunday, I noticed the Mavericks have been playing, of course, midday on Sunday because they usually wrap their games up before like 8-ish on Sundays. And it was really key for the Slovenian or European market because everyone loves LeBron James, everybody loves Luka Doncic. Yeah. So yeah, I see what you mean.
And a good case for that is TNT has like its lowest ratings ever this year. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, TNT,
they had some of their
ESPN.
worst ratings because they have.
They have a lot of games where players injured.
Well, because people thought Zion was going to play. So there's a lot of Pelicans.
And then the Warriors are like
the Warriors
decimated.
Yeah. Like, come on, nobody wants to watch fucking Pelicans against the Warriors.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, Pelicans and Warriors fans, but you guys were great.
I mean, like y'all don't even want to be there. I saw your arena.
Yeah, you're right about that one. So interesting fact. Interesting topic that we'll definitely have to cover on another podcast. But what is your second even pick, Rich?
Yeah, so my second even, I guess I kind of took like a fiery one. This is the most exciting even pick that I've had. I had Milwaukee over the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's just be a little bold. I figure we're gonna see Giannis fucking dunk all over everybody because
he must like these pies.
he doesn't have. He doesn't have. I mean,
that's not a bad pick though.
I think they're at home. One thing, Chris Middleton's back. He played a few games.
Who's to say Kawhi even plays?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, no. Also,
he didn't play the first one. Remember?
I don't think it's a back-to-back for either one. So I think everyone's playing, and that's what really makes me want to add the intrigue to the game. I mean, yeah, we can say that there's a bunch of guys, and they're not gonna be able to guard Montrezl Harrell with their third best defender or fourth best defender. But there's nobody in the world that can guard Giannis right now. I don't think. Like,
I don't know, man. Kawhi shut him down pretty well last year.
He's a beast, but
like
he's taken that chip. He's put it on his shoulder, and he's like, knock it off. Try it. Try me. And you grew taller in the summer. I don't know.
No, I'll be honest.
He's just dunking over 6'9" dudes like it's
just standing
nothing.
up and reaching, like, putting the ball in the
I think if anybody could single-handedly beat a team as deep as the Clippers, probably
if you people forget, he literally dunked over a whole person in a game.
Oh yeah.
They put the man on a shirt, and Giannis is like, "Nah, don't put him on a shirt. Don't do that. It's already on YouTube."
Yeah.
And then he took 6'9" Julius Randle, and Julius Randle was doing his thing, being a traffic cone, and he said, "Instead of going around you, I will go straight up." And then turn my arm like this,
and put
at a 90
ball
degree
in the
angle,
hoop.
put that shit in the rim. Like that dude is
Yeah, he's sick.
that dude's crazy, and he can shoot the three like to a decent extent, like to
Yeah.
where you gotta honor it a little bit.
You got to think
Get
about
close
it
to
now.
30.
Oof, I'm ready.
Yeah.
That'll be a good game to watch.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
What you got, Andre?
I'm gonna start minimizing these just interesting ones.
So this is my second even one. LA Lakers at Utah Jazz.
This guy just hates the Jazz.
They're really struggling right now, man.
He's like-
I was actually pretty high on them. I had them fourth.
I think they still got a shot.
But I mean, Conley's injured right now. He might play this game, might not. It might be a game time decision. But even still,
right?
he's struggling. He's not shooting the ball particularly well. Coming into a new system.
Well, JV, you say they still have a shot. Rudy Gobert last season, I believe it was last season, unless I'm getting them all my years mixed up. It might have been the year before, but I think it was last season. They were sub 500. They were like a game or two sub 500 at the All-Star game. And he said, don't worry, we're making the playoffs. And they did. They didn't get as far as they wanted to get to, but they did. They put their chip on their shoulder, and they fucking made it. So, yeah, they have some resilience. They have cohesion that we say that is good for teams from year to year. We said the Nuggets are going to be good with cohesion from year to year. Yeah. The Nuggets had a kind of a rocky start, but as rough as the Nuggets were looking, they banked some wins. Then the Jazz are banking some losses. But, they could turn it around. And to ask you a question about the Jazz, Andre, what do you think is keying into these, like, Conley, like, just no-shows or not playing well? Like, he was talking about how it's so different for him to play with Rudy Gobert versus Marc Gasol, who can kind of pop out and
he
shoot.
opens the lane up. So Conley needs to be able to drive and get to the rim, but because Rudy can't really shoot that well, he clogs up the paint.
He doesn't shoot anything outside of 6 feet.
Yeah, so you got him in.
But Marc Gasol didn't always shoot. Like, David Fizdale showed up and said, hey, Mark, let's go ahead and start shooting. Although Marc Gasol did shoot some twos, but I was just wondering if you had any kind of theories on what's going on with those guys.
It's definitely spacing related.
Dante Exum looking fat. That's where
he looks different, man. He looks
fat.
like way different.
He's looking like Boris Diaw on the Jazz.
Yeah, but
as good as Boris. Don't let me insult Boris Diaw. Boris Diaw is a beast. But
anyway. I think the Lakers have the tools, especially if they want to play AD at the 5. You can bring Gobert out, which will open up the lane.
Yeah, something
for
the
some
Timberwolves did quite often.
So even though the Lakers, they aren't been shooting from the perimeter particularly well, they're both very good defensive teams, and I like the Lakers' offense and the ability to attack Gobert, who's going to anchor their defense. They'll be able to get to the paint and score easier.
Especially if they get a couple fouls on them and they have to take them out. Like, you can't beat the fouls.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I like the Lakers in that one.
I took, for my second even game, I picked Portland over Sacramento at home. So Portland is at home. I think that bodes well for them. They've gotten most of their wins, even though it's not many, at home. I think Damian Lillard will have one of his typical games. I know that's like very simplistic to say, but he did have a 58-point game earlier this season.
So you're saying the possibilities with Carmelo Anthony on the squad are infinite.
Exactly.
What you're saying?
I mean, they got Player of the Week Carmelo Anthony on their squad. Like,
they do.
It's limitless. Yeah. Really what can happen. Hassan Whiteside could easily have another 10-block game.
Oh, are you talking about the game that's going right now?
No.
Clippers and Portland?
No, Portland, Sacramento.
Okay, Portland, Sacramento. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Hassan Whiteside could have another 10-block game. That's that's like every day, right? No, but honestly, I think their size is a little bit of a they have a little bit of advantage on the size front. I wish they had Zach Collins just because I like him a lot better instead of Whiteside when it comes to guarding the perimeter. But outside of that, I think they just have more scoring than Sacramento. I mean, when you talk about the strengths of Sacramento, is they have that perimeter shooting from the wings, from the backcourt, and
I mean they've still got Fox out until January.
And there you go. And Portland's backcourt is just one of the top. I would say top.
Buddy's been kind of inconsistent right now.
Well, if they had some a little bit more defensive presence as far as the wings go, I was thinking to myself, I was like, did they have to let go of Al-Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless? Because Al-Farouq, like, much respect to him. He was a great player as long as I watched him since before he was on the Mavericks. He's injured now. He wasn't playing very well at all for the Magic, but Mo Harkless is playing very well.
He's playing very well.
Yeah,
He's
locking
dudes down.
That was actually one of those pieces when the Clippers got him where it's like, damn.
He's the unsung hero for them. He's probably just as good defensively as Paul George and Kawhi.
He's ridiculous off the bench.
He's pretty good.
Like, if you average all of the efforts over time, whereas like LeBron or as Kawhi Leonard kind of locks it in at certain moments.
What would you call that unit of measurement for effort?
Like the spectrum? I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Like what's like your decibels, you got inches. What's
the
you
sweat,
for
sweat equity,
defense?
sweat equity,
sweat equity.
Yeah,
Okay,
sweat equity.
I like that.
Sweat.
He gave me about
The
4
moist
sweat
index.
But yeah, so Mo Hark was right. So I was saying I wish that Portland had a little bit more defensive presence just to hype up my man.
Yeah, that's why I miss that Collins so much.
Hype up my man Matisse Thybulle just a little bit more. He was eating Buddy Hield's lunch, man. The guy, when I said he was reaching around for behind the dribble, that was on Buddy Hield. When he was blocking shots, that was on Buddy Hield. When he was getting steals and dunking it with somebody chasing them, the guy chasing them was Buddy Hield. Like, you know
Give me my ball back.
right? It reminded me a little bit of when Kawhi Leonard on defense as a Spur, or even a little bit as a Raptor. Like, I'm the opponent, you're Kawhi Leonard. I'm dribbling, and Kawhi Leonard's like, "Thanks for participating in this basketball game. It's my turn." And he just fucking takes the ball away and dunks twice. Oh my god!
I'm going home.
That's some fancy dribbling you got going on.
Right here. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
You wouldn't mind if I took this ball.
It'd be a shame if someone just
Took it.
All right, Rich, what's your underdog pick?
So my underdog, I took.
I don't know how. Well, I mean, tell us why.
I took Philadelphia at Washington mainly because Washington has shown they'll put 150 points on you if you let them, and
they'll let you get 150 if you want.
Yes, exactly. And Philadelphia has been kind of just really great at home. Like there's only like a lot of the top
undefeated.
The top East teams have all won all their games except for maybe one at home. I think the Heat dropped one at the beginning.
I think
of the
the only
season.
one who's undefeated left is Philly.
Oh, well, I just mean they have a really favorable record.
Yeah.
And so Philadelphia being on the road, maybe they don't have the gas. Maybe, Joel Embiid's not feeling so well that day, looking a little tired. And since Joel Embiid has come back, like he's definitely turned around since that 0-for-11 game. But just in general, if you take the whole season in for example, like he's not consistently playing at an MVP level. He's like looking gassed at times. Like where did that 20 pounds like go from this during the season? He looks the same, but also if you lost him and you're looking this tired, maybe put him back on. Like who knows? Maybe you need to be 220 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an underdog pick, guys. I'm taking the Wizards. Let's go Rui Hachimura. Let's go Bradley Beal. Let's just put 160 points on them this time. See if they can get past that because the Sixers don't have the most robust offense. So we'll see what happens.
Let me see.
What you got, Andre?
So, yeah, this guy, for me, my underdog pick was Miami at Boston. So I picked the Miami Heat. Actually, I'm pretty high on Miami right now, even though Boston's been playing fantastic ball.
You're up on those new
I'm surprised. Actually surprised this was an underdog pick. I know they're playing at home at Boston, but I think Miami's been playing really good ball recently. I would have maybe thought this would have been even.
So you're up on the new jerseys. Is that what you're saying?
Man, the past 3 years of Miami Heat jerseys have been
fiery,
fire,
right?
man. God,
I agree.
yeah.
Those Vice Wave, Google them if you haven't seen them. They look great. They look just like the Vice pink ones, the black ones, and they got white ones too.
Yeah.
I think in make it a nice even year like 2020, 2021, they'll just rebrand to that jersey collection in general.
Yeah.
It looks great. And they do it right. Because you know what? Even though the Dallas Mavericks jersey is growing on me a little bit with the gradient.
Yeah, little by little, it's getting.
It's growing me a little bit, but I just don't like the front font, like the way it looks as far as that styling and the green, white, whatever. The Miami jerseys look fire, as we said, and they limit how many times they wear them. They make them kind of exclusive. The Mavericks are wearing their jerseys 22 times this season. When they started wearing them, we were already like almost 20 games in, so they were wearing them a third of the time. The Vice jerseys 15 times, elusive. It makes it an event when you're gonna go see them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Makes you want it just a little bit more. And everyone knows it's the exclusiveness that makes the thing valuable.
It's true.
So man, those jerseys, they look nice.
Yeah, some good ass jerseys.
Who you got as your last one, JV?
So for my last one, I have Memphis Grizzlies over Chicago. I know, and I believe Chicago's at home, but Memphis is out Ja Morant. But Otto Porter Jr. is out for Chicago, who's actually their best three-point shooter from the starting rotation, shooting 40% for the year.
Zach LaVine made 13 though.
Once.
And he has the highest plus minus of the starting rotation too. So I think that's really the only place where I could find like a huge disparity, because everything else they're kind of match up: offensive rating, defensive rating, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. I usually go off to rebounding and turnovers to kind of get an idea of who can win on any given night, because if you turn the ball over a bunch, you don't protect the ball, anybody can beat you.
Yeah.
Like they can just beat you.
You're making it
like,
real hard on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But they're both they're middle of the pack. Not really anything. The only reason Chicago's I would say is the favorite is because they're the home team and John Morant's out. Other than that, nothing really stands out to me. Lauri Markkanen will probably have an easy time because they have no real big men to kind of guard him in the inside. But I ultimately think Memphis can come over with the win just because Otto Porter Jr. is not there to give them that high scoring offense.
Pretty crazy how Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. has like no buzz this season. Like
Jaren
right?
Jackson Jr. Yeah, that's true.
You know, like none. Like
He's the number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He's been playing quietly. I mean, Memphis is kind of
and like
developing right now,
right?
so
And
he's kind of been flying under the radar.
We're kind of spoiled, right? It's not, like think back to 2007, JB. Think back to 2009, Andre. Like how many rookies besides Derrick Rose were we talking about? Like in their first year, in their second year,
James
you know what I mean?
Little, maybe.
We got some bigs that develop faster than point guards in the past. But like point guards in the past, just I know it's a different position than John Morant or than Jaren Jackson Jr. But we say, oh, it's gonna take him a couple years to get used to the system, get used to the athleticism, get used to the speed of the game. And now it's like, man, we got all these guys, Trae Young,
so many guards,
De'Aaron Fox, they're just ready. Like it's crazy. And so what's in the food? Like I don't know. So just kind of crazy. And so I want to just
more skilled, man.
I want to take slow the speed down on our hot take, like instant reaction, instant gratification culture, and say some guys got to develop a little bit before they make their name.
Jaren Jackson.
Look at Andrew.
His second year.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the second year.
Where's he at?
Yeah.
Where is he? Why did they draft him?
I know I asked the question, but I'm answering it too.
I kind of caught myself doing that earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't catch myself, but now that I think about it, I said it earlier when I was like, how do you think the Hawks feel?
Yeah.
Because Luka's going off, and it's like,
Trae
Young's still good. It's
Yeah.
second year. I mean, who would have predicted that Luka would be this good?
Yep.
But you're right. You know, it's a knee-jerk reaction to say, oh, this is a bust or this, you know.
Right.
Jonathan and I were talking over text about, I think it was after the Laker game, and we were talking about the strength of schedule and how LeBron has a lot of games that are stronger after football season ends for the eyes. And JV had the answer that could basically answer any question that you ask. We'll see. That's like the best answer you can give.
Yeah,
we will see what happens because there's so many variables.
Yeah, that's why I said it earlier. It's like, oh, people will talk about strength of schedule all day, and I'm like, okay, I get that, whatever. But they're still very good.
Right.
They still have to go in there and win those games. They still have only lost now 3 games. Like they're still very good.
Exactly.
So I hate that argument.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. All right, yeah, they have the easy schedule, but we'll see. They're about to play the Nuggets tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see how they do. If they win that game, suddenly the narrative changes. Oh yeah,
exactly.
They can beat the best of the West.
Another.
You can only play the team that's in front of you, man.
Yeah.
You can't go off anything else.
Narrative team, the Raptors, looking awesome. It's so fun to be a Raptors fan right now. Being defending world champs, looking
Unless
great.
you're a Heat fan,
Fred
they just beat
VanVleet,
the Raptors.
And outside of this one game against the Heat, that they lose.
The Raptors are very good.
The Raptors have been dropping some games against their top premium opponents, but they've been beating the crap out of everybody that they're supposed to beat.
They are number 2 on the power rankings.
They just tied with
Fred VanVleet is like in the top 10 MVP voting right now. Top 10
predictions.
Yes.
Well, Siakam's up there too, though, right? He's got to be like 6.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, Fred VanVleet
made it. Siakam might win the most of every player getting rich.
Yeah, I know. Rich kind of memed his way in there.
Who didn't know?
That was a serious pick.
I called it. Yeah.
That was his pick.
I'm rooting for it. I'm gonna start lobbying these voters.
Yeah, I don't know what people like.
Kawhi
left, and suddenly we act like the Raptors have no structure. Like
they were winning games when he was not playing. You know what I mean? They had a top defense when
Andre,
he was not
your
playing.
pick for them missing the playoffs.
I don't know.
It's looking worse and worse.
Hey, man, give me some clicks.
There's a collective going on through our followers.
Hey, Miami and Toronto are tied.
Yeah, everybody's picks.
So that's it for next week.
Cool.
Let's
again,
it'll be a full month.
Yeah, the even games will be 1 point. The underdog games will be 2 points, and then the tiebreaker, if points are tied, is going to be most games picked correctly. I took the title for November.
So what do you want to do with that?
Nothing. I just want to say that again.
Put that out there.
Yeah. Well, hey, at the end of the year, at the end of the NBA season, whoever has the most last place should have like an ultimate punishment. I like that.
So you get punished at the end, then you got if you lost, you get like a double punishment.
Yeah.
They get dunked back in.
we gotta dunk you into a goal.
It didn't have to be something like miserable. It could be something like you got to bungee jump or something.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Some crazy shit.
All right.
Or you got to jump in a river.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do a
river.
polar bear challenge.
You know when you jump off like a cliff?
Man, I'm not getting West now.
West Nine.
Just find a good spot.
Yeah, we'll take you to do some polar bear exercises. You know, when you have to jump in the cold, freezing cold water.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Come back.
That does it for our pick'em. For our pick'em segment. If you guys have any insight onto the previous games that we've covered, or think that somebody's just way off on their picks for this week, let us know on Twitter at Shotcallers Show. Send us a message shotcallarshow@gmail.com, or leave a comment in Apple Podcast and YouTube comment section. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and just tell your friends about us. We really want to grow the show, and we would appreciate your help in doing so. Before we close out the show, I do want to ask you guys, I guess you can call it the question of the day. I think the consensus top 4 for MVPs, and I think it could go any way with these 4, is James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. So just a quick question. You guys don't have to go crazy in depth. I just want to know who you guys think can sustain it, and not who's going to win it, but like who can sustain their current
trajectory.
Yeah. Because those are 2 different questions.
We have to pick one?
Necessarily, Luka playing as good as he's playing now doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the MVP. Because Giannis, go ahead and make your arguments. But who do you think?
So if I wanted to say Luka Doncic,
get this cream ready.
I would. If I wanted to say Luka,
I want some more.
Yeah, I see the waveform. We can hear it, but I can hear it. I'm just gonna close my eyes while I talk. As much as I want Luka Doncic, show out. Let's say the Mavericks had their top season possible. Let's say they won 52 games. You still have to compare it to another player. So I'm thinking that the Bucks are going to roll to 59, 60 games. And at that point, like, there's not a contest there. He's done it back-to-back. I think this whole narrative thing is total BS in general, as far as, like, you got to have the story to win. Just look at the Russell Westbrook winning in 2017.
Yeah.
Whack. James Harden should have 2. So, I mean, that's garbage. So the narrative thing, throw that out the window. Expectations year over year, throw that out the window. It should just be results, seeing the effect that someone has on a team, and just in general, like, just the winning effect, the winning culture, and just inspiring others to be like you. And if you look at Giannis, if I was on a team with Giannis, the way when he dunks on somebody, he's snarling, he's trying on defense, he's giving it his all. I'm going to go out there. I'm not any good, but I'm going to play as hard as he does if I'm on the team. So galvanizing his team to 60 wins after this the drudgery of a regular season, he's going to get to 60. I think he has to win it, and he's the most likely to continue on at the pace that we've seen, as we've been seeing. He's dunking over 6'9" dudes standing. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm just going to go because I agree with Richard. I think it's going to be Giannis. I think he's obviously the proven MVP. I think he's going to, defend his title back-to-back. And I think it's for the same reasons, right? And, well, one of the biggest things for me is he's doing it he's the one out of the 4 who doesn't really have, like, that duo guy, even though we'll say Chris Middleton.
He was an all-star,
and you can make the argument that KP's not really there yet. He hasn't returned to his form.
Right.
But you could argue that the Mavs have crazier depth, right? They have much better depth. They have the best bench.
And you could say about Kristaps Porzingis versus Chris Middleton that Kristaps Porzingis has, like, flashes of the 3-point range. You can obviously see
defensively he's still there.
His defensive impact, where he doesn't have to even touch the defender or the offensive player, like, at all, and has to completely erase that stuff. Whereas Chris Middleton has missed
like over 3 blocks a game.
Yeah, he's missed almost 3, I think. Chris Middleton has missed over 2 weeks, 2 and a little bit of change as far as this. And no one cares. Yeah, exactly.
Only lost 3 games.
We're just gonna keep talking about it.
I really hope the narrative doesn't take over. What's going on in LA? Yeah, LeBron and AD are having amazing seasons so far, but they're playing with each other. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to
cannibalizing each other.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, you give it to one of those guys. Okay, so people always make this argument: is it the best team? Is it the best player, or is it the most valuable player for that team? And it's like, how could you make the argument that one is more valuable than the other?
Yeah,
like
one creates the other, right?
LeBron is more valuable to the Lakers than AD. The fuck? They didn't make playoffs last year. AD is more valuable to the Lakers than LeBron. LeBron James really more valuable? Somebody more valuable than him? Like, you can't make that argument for either one of them. So I think they, as great of a season as LeBron James is having, like, he plays next to AD, right? Giannis, he plays next to Chris Middleton, and he lost Malcolm Brogdon. Like, they're probably their best defender outside of Giannis, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still only, 18-3?
Yeah,
best record in the NBA.
Yeah, 12-game win streak.
And like, that's what Chris Middleton out for how long? 2 weeks?
Who else are you? It was like 15 days. Who else is playing right now where you say, form a fucking wall when he's trying to come down the lane? You know what I mean?
And you know what's crazy? I still think number 2 is James Harden. I still think it's them two because James Harden is putting on another scoring barrage.
Explosion?
Yeah,
I was trying to
it's
think of
ridiculous.
offensive
8 out of the
words.
10 highest scoring games this season,
I've been
going
him,
over
yeah.
60 twice.
All right, Andre looks sad about
crazy.
you saying that, so let's
Oh,
go ahead
go
and go
ahead,
to
Andre.
Andre.
No, I mean James Harden, he's doing amazing stuff. As long as it's leading to winning, he's right up there in there with it. I think if he finished 1 or 2 in the West, he should be right up there with Giannis, just based off his usage and what he's been able to do with that team. But yeah, I agree with both of you. Giannis is the man to beat right now. I mean, he is the system offensively and defensively for that team, and he's doing it. He's got a good team around him, but he's pretty much the engine behind it. He's the driving force. He's the reason why they're
If you
winning.
remove
If you take him off of that team, they're
that last
not
time,
good.
they're
They're all right.
They're like
They
the
ain't
Magic.
they're
They're
instantly
not-
out of the playoffs. But if you
Yeah.
take the other 3 Mavericks, probably maybe still probably fighting for an 8 seed. But the Bucks would just be out.
I don't know. You take Luka out, we're probably pretty bad. Too. We're pretty
I
bad.
don't know, man. You can
He
focus-
generates. You got to think about how many points and
Yeah,
assists
you're right.
he
You're right.
generates.
All
a
right,
lot
so
off-
those 2. But James Harden leaves, Russell Westbrook's carried the team to the playoffs.
He carried a worse team to the
Yeah,
playoffs.
to the playoffs. So, yeah.
But LeBron by himself,
It's-
they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
AD by himself, they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So early pick, or I guess early trajectory pick.
It's Giannis, baby.
It's Giannis. Yeah.
Giannis, yeah.
Giannis sounds good.
I'd say Giannis and then Luka and Harden tie it,
Yeah.
and then LeBron.
Cool. Any bits today, Rich? It's okay if you don't.
No bits this week. The closer we get to the end of the episode, the more I'm dreading. So my heart's pounding.
Don't worry,
over
man. It
here.
won't be a surprise. I promise.
Okay.
Well, that's all we have, guys. Again, follow us on Twitter, Shotcallers Show. On Twitter, _Shotcallers, _Shotcallers on Instagram. Send us a message, shotcallarshow@gmail.com. Leave a comment in either YouTube channel, The Shotcallers, or on Apple Podcasts. We're on several podcast channels, radio.com, Anchor, Spotify,
Wherever podcasts
Breaker,
are sold.
etc., etc. But for this time, I'm JV,
I'm Rich.
And this is Andre.
and this is a pie to the face.
You gotta be better. Be better. Okay, actually, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And we're the shot callers.
We'll catch y'all next time, guys.
Ugh.
Somebody hit stop on the recording.
I'm gonna hit play on this.